Hi there, my name is Jolene, and my husband Will and I have been gardening for about 3 years or so. Gardening's not something new for me though. I was raised basically in a garden. My father was an amazing gardener. The reason for this video is we're living right now in troubled and unprecedented times with the coronavirus outbreak. There's a lot of fear and um, I've been claiming a verse in the Bible that says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. And so this is the whole sound mind part is we don't want to give in to the fear. Sorry, my dog's barking. They're going to be barking on this video no matter what I do. So there's a lot of fear going around, but we want to have a sound mind about us right now. What I love is seeing our community come together. I've been amazed at how many places have offered free scholastic resources for all these parents who are suddenly homeschool parents who never had any experience in doing this. Or all these museums that are doing these virtual tours. I mean, it's just incredible. I'm just amazed at what our community has done to help provide resources for people. And so that's the reason for this video is I don't have a bunch of resources in per se homeschooling, although I was homeschooled, but I don't have kids myself. What I do have is I have some gardening knowledge, and I'm not a guru by any means, but I hope that maybe I can give you some guidance here so that you can start gardening. That's the big thing. I've had a lot of people asking me questions about gardening. I think people are starting to realize how fragile our grocery food system is when they look at the empty grocery shelves, and suddenly there's this knowledge that if I can't get my groceries today, how am I going to survive with my family? Most grocery stores only have about 3 days worth of food stocked up. They're constantly getting shipments. So I've just been receiving a lot of questions about gardening because suddenly people are interested in doing that, and I think that is fantastic. I think everyone should grow something, even if it's in pots. Grow something. There's blessings in disguise as well during this time. This really can't be a better time. I know this sounds really weird, but this can't be a better time for a virus like this to hit. If this had happened in fall or winter, it would be a lot harder for gardening, but it is happening at the beginning of spring when you can start planting things right away and have a summer garden. You can be planting things right now and get I mean, here in the Pacific Northwest, I can get stuff in even probably a month or so, start harvesting things from my garden. There are many benefits to gardening that I want to share. One is growing your own food. It's just nice to, it's easier on the budget. It's nice to walk outside and know that there's something out there that you can eat. It's good for your kids, for them to know where their food comes from. There's also a lot of health benefits, mental health and physical health of being outside, digging in the dirt and in the sunshine and fresh air. So what can you grow in your garden right now? I live in Western Washington, the Pacific Northwest. Our winters are pretty mild, so I can actually plant. I already have things planted in my garden. I have things from last year that carried through the winter, and then I have things that I planted this spring that I hope to get a harvest in a few weeks to a month or so. It really depends on your climate. If you don't know, your climate, just look up, find out what your frost-free date is. That's really crucial. Usually I just Google frost-free date by zip code and see what comes up, and usually Old Farmer's Almanac and a couple things like that you'll put in your zip code, and then it'll tell you when your last frost-free date is, and that'll help guide you on what things you can plant. But most areas in the US you can probably start planting some cold crops. These are things like any root vegetable, carrots and beets do very well right now. You can plant those right away. Things like brassicas, which are the broccolis and the cauliflowers and the kales. I have kale in my garden from last year, but I also planted some just now for spring, and you can pick those, you know, as soon as they start getting those leaves. You can get the baby leaves. Other things are the leafy greens such as spinach, Swiss chard, lettuces, and then peas, climbing peas. I have those already planted. Those will need something to climb up on, so maybe put like a trellis or something. But those will grow really fast once the weather is perfect for them. Other things you can plant, you may not get a harvest right away, but are your berries and your fruit trees and your nut trees. Those are perennials, meaning that once you plant them, they'll be there, like they're part of your landscape, and they will produce year after year with just one planting. You can see behind me I have my strawberry bed here. Further back is my blueberry bed, and then right here are my raspberries. And this is the time of year to be buying those plants and putting them in your garden. Make sure, once again, like I said, they are a permanent feature in your garden, so make sure you have a place that you really want to keep them. Yes, technically some of them can be moved, but just something to keep in mind. And like I said, fruit trees, nut trees, if you want some of those, it'll take them a few years to produce, but it's a wonderful addition to your garden and your landscape too. So this video really isn't necessarily about like how to plant or any of that. I can do videos later on that if you want. This is more about just like resources. I just want to put in your hand resources so that you can just start doing your own research and gardening, just planting things right away. I already listed some things that you can plant right now. But here are a couple other resources. There are a lot of seed catalogs. You can go online and order those and have them delivered to you. I'll give you a few of my favorites. One is the Baker Creek Heirloom Seed. This is a fantastic resource. They have so many cool things. They're not in the Pacific Northwest, so you kind of have to keep that in mind if you do live where I live. But what they do have is they have some really unusual things like black tomatoes and stuff that you might not find in, grocery store. Another of my favorites is Territorial Seed Company. This is located in Oregon, so this will be more of like my climate, and they're really nice too. Another one that is local is Ed Hume Seeds. I don't have a catalog, but you can find these in a lot of stores here in the Pacific Northwest. Ed Hume is here in the PNW, so you know that this stuff will grow up here. There are also other catalogs that are good for any area. I think of Johnny Selected Seeds, there's Burpees, and there's Park Seeds. I mean, there's just look up seed catalogs and a million things will come up, and it doesn't matter what it is, just pick one and go with it. You can order online too, which is great. You talk to your friends and family, those who have gardened, that you know have gardened, pick their brains. They might be willing to share some seeds with you. And these seed packets, okay, for instance, this is beets. This has 250 seeds. Unless you have a really big spot, you're probably not going to use all these seeds. So there are probably people out there who are willing to lend you some seeds. I got this from a friend. She had Brussels sprouts. I just wrote that down and put 2013. I stole a couple seeds from her and planted those. They're in my house right now. So, see if you can snatch some from some people. Another other thing to think about is the internet is a vast resource. I find most of my information on the internet. YouTube videos are really helpful. I have a couple that I follow. MI Gardener is a really great resource. Roots and Refuge Farms is a family in Arkansas, and I love following them as well. But yeah, just look up some YouTube videos like, how to plant carrot seeds and see what comes up. And it'll give you way more information than you probably need to know. Another thing too is farmers markets are a great resource, and a couple reasons why. One is those people are just bursting with information, so start just asking information. There's seedlings oftentimes where they'll have little plants there, and those are great because you know that they work in your area, and they're really great stuff. Another thing, if you go to a local farmers market, you will at that market see what is in season, what can be grown now. What is in grocery stores is not local produce, typically. So if you think you can grow an orange tree in Western Washington State, probably not going to happen. Or if you think, I'm going to plant tomato plant and in a month I'm going to have tomatoes, probably also not going to happen. Go to your local farmers market, see what's around. You'll see right now, you'll see a lot of carrots and broccoli and leafy greens and things like that. That's what you should be planting right now. It's a great resource. Another great resource is your local master gardeners. Right now, I know like my local master gardener office is closed, but you can still email them or phone call them. They can give you some guidance. But usually, you know, if there's not a pandemic going around, they will have workshops, which is great. You learn so much how to prune and all this stuff. So keep them in mind. Find out what your local extension is, and keep that in the back of your brain and see if you can use them as a great resource. Wait till this guy finishes. Okay, so I just gave you a really brief talk here on some resources. Obviously, I am not going through like how to plant things, but that could be something maybe I could do a short video on. If that's something you're interested in, just you leave a comment on my YouTube channel or below this video or on Facebook, and I'll see if I can maybe put a couple videos out there to help guide you in this beginning stage of gardening. And I'll also, on this YouTube video, check down below, I'll put some links to all the different resources I just talked about, and so that way you can go through and see what I was mentioning in this video here. The main takeaway is grow something. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you know absolutely nothing and you have a brown thumb. I just want you to grow something. Put it in pots if that's all you can do, and just grow something. You'll feel better about it. Like I already mentioned, the mental and the physical health benefits of it, but also knowing that in the midst of all that's going on around us, that you can do something to help your family, even if it's one tomato plant. You'll be amazed at how much that can produce for your family. And it just gives that sense of relief, that sense of empowerment, and I hope that you grow big or go home.